Hello everyone, welcome back. So in the previous video, we implemented the profile update functionality, and in this video, we're gonna work on our new post screen. So let's go to our document and see our progress. We have implemented the update functionality. Now we're gonna work on the new post screen. So let's create a mockup for this screen. So it's gonna be very similar to the Facebook create post page. So let me show you how it will look. So first we will have a back button on the top left corner here, and then we will have the title of the page, which will be create post. This will be shown in the center. We will use our header component for this. Then we will have a user icon on the left side and the username as well. So username, this will show with the user icon. After this, we will have a text area for the post body, and we will implement a rich text editor for this. We will have all the options to style the post body. Then we will have an option to add media to your post. So we will have a box here, and here we will have two icons for the image and for the video. So let's add them here. If user clicks on the video, we will show only the videos from the gallery. If image, then we will show only the images. And we will have a text here, add media to your post. Then finally, we will have a button here to submit the post, and this will say post like this. And let's match it to our theme using the screen color. So this is how our create post screen will look like. So let me just create a label here. And the first step is to use the header, and we already have a component for this, so let's use this. So let's go to the new post screen, and here first we're gonna import our screen wrapper. Then inside this, let's just remove this, and we will import our header component and give this a title of create post like this. And let's save this. So there we can see the header, but we need to have a padding around the container. And before that, let me just copy and paste the styles for this whole component, and I'll show you whenever I use these styles. So we'll also need to import the WP and HP functions, and let's also import our theme object. Okay, so everything's good to go. Now let's give this screen wrapper a background of white. Then let's create a view and give this a style of container, and let's move this header inside this. Now let's add a scroll view, and we're gonna give a gap between all the items. So let's use content container style and give it a gap of 20 pixels. And inside this, we will create our header section, and in which we will create our avatar. So let's create a view, give this a style of header, and let's save this. So now for the header, we have the following styles. We are using flex direction as row because we will have the avatar and then the username in a row. So let's use our avatar component, and for using the user image, we will need to use the user data from a use auth hook like this. Now let's give this a URI of user.image. Then for the size, we will use HP of let's say 6.5. Then we will use a rounded property to make it rounded, and let's use theme.radius.xl. Let's close this and save this. So there we can see the user avatar. Now for the username, let's create a view and give this a style of gap 2 pixels, and give this a style of username. And here we will just simply use the user object to display the username like this. So we can see the usernames, and here is the username style. You can just copy these styles. Now I'm just gonna copy this text for a public text. This will show at the bottom, and we're not making functional, but by default, because all of the posts are public, so this will be a static text as public. like this. And these are the styles for the public text, so you can just copy them from here. Then after this, we're gonna create a view that will show our text editor. So after this view, let's create a new view and give this a style of text editor. And inside this, we're gonna create a new component that will show our editor. So let's create a new file as a rich text editor. Then create a functional component inside this. Let's save this and let's just import the component here. And let's save this. So there we can see the rich text editor, and for the text editor style, we don't have any styles, so you can just ignore this. Now we're gonna implement the rich text editor, and for that we're gonna use a library called React Native Pel Rich Editor. It's a very great library. So let's just copy this command to install this quickly. I will also need to install React Native Web View. So let's close our server and install this library. After that, we also gonna install this dependency, React Native Web View. So let's copy this, and here you can see an example of how we can use this library and implement a rich text editor. And you can find the documentation for all the features in this library. So it's installed. Now let's install React Native Web View. Okay, so now let's try to run our project. Let's reload. Okay, so we don't see any error. That's a good sign. And now let me show you a working demo of this library. So if you go to their GitHub repo, let's go into the examples, and inside the source folder, you'll find this example.tsx file. Here it's a fully working rich text editor with all the possible options. And we're gonna use the components like rich toolbar. Here is the component, and we're gonna use the rich editor as well. Then we can also use this rich toolbar with the keyboard avoiding view with all of these actions, and this will show on top of the keyboard. But in our app, we don't have a situation like this, so we don't need to implement this. So I'll use these components to create the fully working rich text editor from scratch. And if you're confused about any property, you can always find the documentation here. So now let's use this editor into our application, and now we need to create a reference for this editor and also for the content of this editor. So let's go to new post, and here let's just create everything that we need. So body reference, let's use ref hook, and then we will have an editor reference for the editor, and by default it will be null. Then we are gonna use router to move back to home screen when the post is created, and let's use the loading. We will also upload the images and the videos, so let's create a file state for them like this. Now let's use this editor reference and pass it to our component, and we will also pass an on change function that will change the body reference. So I will call this inside the component. This will give us a body, and we will just change the body reference dot current value to like this, and we will store all the content into the body reference. Now let's go inside and receive these properties, editor reference, and then on change function. So now I want to add a fixed minimum height for this editor, but obviously this will expand when we have more content. So let's just give it a style of minimum height of 285 pixels. Now let's remove this text, and here we need to implement the rich toolbar. So let's just import this component, rich toolbar, this one. And here we need to give a property as actions. So this will be an array of all the actions that we can use to style the content of our editor, and I can show you into the documentation. So here is the list of all the common actions that we can use to set the text as bold, italic, or insert a bullet list. You can also use this documentation to render your own custom actions. So let me just copy these actions and just paste them here. And we will also need to import the actions from this library like this. So that we will use these actions. So now let's add the style for this as styles dot rich bar. Then for the container styles, let's use flat container style and give this styles dot list style. And we also want to connect it to an editor, and for that we will need to use the editor reference like this. And let's set the disable property as false. And let's close this, and let's indent this. um, let's just indent this like this, and let's save this. Okay, so we can already see all the actions in the this toolbar, and we have a warning at the bottom. Toolbar has no editor. That's true. We don't have an editor yet. This is just a toolbar. So we can see all these actions. Now I want to add custom actions. So we can, these are not the custom actions, but we don't have the icon for these actions. So I want to add heading 1 and heading 4. And if I save this, you will see the library doesn't have the icons for them, and we can use our custom text or icon, and for that we're going to use the icon map property. So we can map any action to a view that we want. So there you can find the documentation for this, and let's use this to map the actions for heading 1 and heading 4. So here we can just provide actions dot heading 1 like this, and this will give us a callback with the tint color of the icon, and we will use this to set our style as active. So let's use a text component and give this a style of tint color, and inside this we'll just simply add h1. So let's save this, and there we can see the heading 1 icon. So let's copy this for the heading 4, and similarly you can add all the icons for other actions as well. So let's save this, and we need to add a comma between these two. So now we can see heading 1 and heading 4. So this is how you can add the icons or map the icons to any action. So let's add a style for the rich bar, and let's give it a border top right radius of theme dot radius dot xl, and let's use the same for the border top left radius because we want to make it rounded on the top corner. And let's give it a background color of theme dot color dot gray. Let's save this, and after this we will add our editor. But now I want to change the active color for these actions. So whenever these are active, this will show the green color from our theme, and for that I can use a property selected icon tint color, and let's use the theme dot colors dot primary dark color. And I think this won't work now, but when we have the editor this will work. So let's just save this, and now let's add our editor. Let's import the rich text editor from this library, and let's give this a reference for the editor, and let's add the content container style as the styles dot rich. Then we want to add the editor styles as well. So these are the styles for the content inside the editor. So styles dot content style. Then we want to have a placeholder for this editor, which will be what's on your mind. Then finally, on change property will trigger the on change function that we passed from the parent component. So here is the on change function. So let's just close this, and let's save this. And we have an error. So I know about this error, and I'll show you how you can fix this. But for now, let's just dismiss this, and we can see we have an editor. We have a placeholder, and if I type anything here, I can able to make it bold or italic. First, I will need to select it. Then I can make it bold, italic, and it's working. I can remove the styles, Then I can align it to the center, to the right or left, and I can make it in quotes. So all the actions are working. Now let's just refresh the app and see if this error goes away. So we still see this error, but don't worry, I'll show you how you can fix this. Now let's add the style for this editor and make it look good. So let's add the styles for rich, and I want to have a minimum height of 240 pixels, then a flex 1, border width of 1.5 pixels, and I don't want to have the border top, so let's use border top width as 0. Then we want to make it rounded from the bottom, so let's use border bottom left radius as theme.radius.xl. Then same for the border bottom right radius, so let's just change this to right radius. And then we want to have a border color, so let's use the gray color from our theme. And we want to have a padding of 5 pixel like this, and let's save this. So there we can see the container style for our editor. Now let's add the style for the content inside the container. So content style, as the color will be the text dog color from our theme. And for the placeholder text, we will use the gray color. So placeholder color will be gray, and let's save this. So and now I want to add the styles for the list of the toolbar actions. So we have the list style, so let's just change this to flat style, and we will specify the styles for this. So I want to have a padding around the list, so I will add the padding horizontal. So let's use padding horizontal of 8 pixels, and let's save this. So now we can see we have some padding around the list. We can increase the spacing, so let's use 20, and we'll have more spacing. Let's just use 8 is fine. Then we want to have a gap between these items, so let's use 5 pixels, which is too much, so let's use 3. Now this is fine. So with this, our editor design is complete, and it's looking good. Now I want to see if I add more content, it will expand. So let's move to next lines, and yes, it's working. So let's just remove this and see if all the actions are working. So I will add a text as code with Nomi. Then I want to make it bold, and I can make it to center or to the left. I can make it H1 and then move it around like this. Then I can choose this code icon. This will turn the text into code snippet like this. So let's remove this and see the number list. So if I click on this, I can make a list, and the text is bold, so I can turn it off. For the next item, we don't have a bold text. So everything is working and all the actions are working. So let's just refresh the app. And now I want to fix this error. So the error is because we are using this library on the latest SDK 51 from Expo. So if I go to the issues on their GitHub repo, you will see editor not working on Expo SDK 51. And we already have a solution for this thanks to goat.io. So inside the rich editor file, we need to remove this data detector types on the line 267. So if you don't see this error, you don't have to do anything. You can just skip this part. But if you see this error, then I will have to patch this. So let's go into node modules and find this library. So this is the library. Let's go into the source folder, then rich editor. Then here we need to find the data detector types property on the line 167, or no, it was on 267. So here we can see this is the data property that was causing this issue. So we need to remove this, and hopefully our issue will be fixed. So let's just save this and restart our server. So these changes are not permanent. We will lose these changes if we run the npm install command. This will override all the library code. So we need to make a patch. So I'll show you how you can patch these changes. So now we can see the error is gone. So everything's good to go. Now we want to use this patch package to make these changes permanent. So let's just copy this command and run into our terminal. And let's close the server again. So this library basically creates a patch file that will change the library code whenever we install all the packages. So we will need to use this command, and we will also need to copy this script. Let's go into our package.json, and we need to paste this command into our scripts. This will run every time we run the npm install command, and this will patch the changes. So we are not using yarn, so we will need to use this command. So let's just copy this, and after that we will need to specify the package that we want to patch. So let's use the name of this package and paste it here. Now it will create a patch file using the changes that we done into the list editor file, and it's done. It's created a patch file. So it should have created a patches folder. Let me just remove the git from this folder. So if you want to remove git, just type this command, and whenever you save a new file, so let's just save this, and the git will be removed. So here, let's see, we have a patches folder here, and here we have a new patch file. So this code will make the changes to this library whenever we run the npm install command. And even if we override the changes when we install all the packages, this will make sure the patch persists. So let's run our application, and we can just remove this file, this one and this one too. Now let's refresh, and we won't see this error now. So let's go to the new post screen. So everything is working. Now let's continue our design, and let's go to the new post page. Now I want to add the media section at the bottom of this editor. So let's add a view and give this a style of media from our style sheet. Let's close this and save this. You can already see the styles. So these are the styles for the media container. We are using flex direction as row because I want to add a text property on the left and the icons on the right side. So let's add the icons. First I want to add the text. Let's add the styles for the add image text, and this will say add to your post. Then after this, we want to have a view that will contain the icons. So let's create a view, give this a style of media icons. And if I show you the styles, we have the flex direction as row. So you can just copy these styles. And inside this, let's create a touchable opacity. And now inside this, I want to use the icon. So let's use our icon component and give this a name of image. Size will be 30, and the color will be the dark color from our theme. Let's close this and save this. So now we can see the image icon. So let's also add an onPress method, and this will trigger an onPick function which will open the image gallery. So let's create this function. This will be an async function, and I also want to add a parameter as the isImage. So if this is true, that means we need to open the gallery with only the images. If not, then we will open the gallery with only the video files. So for this one, it will be true, and it will show only the images. So let's just copy this for the video icon, and let's change this to false. And I also want to change the name to video icon. Let's save this. Now we can see the icons. Let's increase the size for the video icon to 33. Now it looks good. So we'll work on the onPick function later, but now I want to add a button at the bottom. This will be after the scroll view. So let's import our button component and let's give this a button style property, and let's give it a height of HP 6.2. Then we're gonna have a title as post. Let's add the loading state as well. So we don't want to have the shadow for this button, so has shadow property will be false, and on press method will trigger an on submit function which will create in a second. So let's create this on submit function. This will be an async function, and let's save this. So there we can see the post button at the bottom, and it's not scrollable because it's out of the scroll view. So now we need to open the image gallery, but that is already implemented inside the edit profile page. So let's just copy this code, and this will open the image picker. We also need to import the image picker library. So let's copy this import statement and paste it here. So by default, it will open the image gallery and show only the images, but I want to make the configuration dynamic based on the is image property. So let's create media configuration, and let's just copy this configuration here. So this will be the default configuration, and let's remove this and use the media config here. Now I want to make an if condition. If the is image property is false, then we want to show only the videos inside the gallery. So let's change the media configuration and have the media type as image picker. Let's just copy this one and change this to videos. Now this will only show the videos, and I also want to add the editing option. So allow editing true, and this will get us the result. Then after we get the result, we want to set this file into this file state. So let's see if the result is not cancelled. Then we want to set the file, and we have an assets array, but we want to save only the first object at 0. So let's save this, and hopefully this will work. So if I click on the image icon, we see only the images, and if I cancel it and open the video, now we see only the videos. So this is working. Now let's choose an image. Let's choose this one and hit choose. So the image that we picked is set into the file state, but we are not able to see it. So let's show it under the rich text editor. So let's have a condition here. If we have the file, then we will show this view. So let's create a view and give this a style of file, and let's save this. So we can already see the blank space for the file view, and we have the following styles for the file. We have the height of 30%, and you can copy these styles for the file. So now I want to create a function that will return the type of the file. So let's use get file type, and we need to pass the file, and this will return either video or image. We're doing this because I want to show a video player if the file is video, and if the file is image, we will just simply use the image component. So for now, let's just add an empty tag here. Now let's create this function get file type, and this will receive the file. And first we will need to make a condition. If we don't have a file, then we'll just simply return null. Then we need to make one more condition if the file is local or remote. So let's create a function is local file. Let's create it here. This will also receive the file, and let's also make a condition here. If we don't have a file, then we will simply return null. But if we do have a file, then we will make one more condition and check the type of the file. And if it equals to an object, that means we have a file object and we picked it from the local gallery. So we will return true, otherwise let's return false. Now let's pass the file here, and if it returns true, that means we have a local file. And for every local file we have a type. So whenever we set the file here, we will have a type property on this file, and this will be either video or image, so we will return that. So this will handle the local files, but we also want to check for the remote files, because later I want to use this page for updating the post as well. So we will need to make a check for the remote files. So let's create a comment here, check image or video for a remote file. And in our Supabase storage, we will have two folders for post videos and post images. So every file will contain a path as post image or post video. So we will just make a check here. If the file includes post image, that means it's saved into the post images folder and we have an image file. So we will return the type as image. But if it's not, then we will just return video like this. So this function will return the type of the file, either remote or local. Now I want to show you the type property on the local file. So let's just copy this and console log the file here. And let's save this. So now if I open the image from the gallery, let's choose this. We'll see in the console. Here you can see we have a property type as image. So this is what I was talking about. And if we choose the video, we will have a type as video. So here you can see we have the type video. So let's just remove this console log, and this function will give us the type of the image. We will only get the type for the local files for now, but it should hopefully work for the remote files later. So let's use this. And here, if it's not a video, then it's an image. So let's return an image component. And let's give this a source of an object with a URI. So we will need to create a function that will get the file URI. This will check if the file is local or remote, then it will return the file URI. Then resize mode as cover, and the style, let's use flex as 1. Let's close this. Okay, so now we need to create this function get file URI. This will receive the file, and first we will need to make a condition. If we don't have a file, then we will just simply return null. And let's also make another condition for if the file is local. So we will use our function is local file. If it's true, then we already have the URI property on the file, we will return that. But if it's a remote file, then we will need to return the function get Supabase file URL. We already have that in our image service. So let's import this get Supabase file URL, and we need to pass the file. So if I go into the get Supabase file URL, this returns an object with a URI, but we only need the URI. So we will just simply return the URI from this function like this. So this function will return the file path if it's local or remote. So let's see if this works. Let's choose an image, and we should see this in here, but we don't see it. And I think I made a mistake somewhere. So resize mode cover flex 1 and get the file URI. So this will check, this will return null. If local file, then file URI. So everything looks all right, but let's just try to console log the file and see if we are getting the file URI. So we'll just call the get file URI function here and pass the current file. So we're getting the file URI from this function. So this is working. So there must be something wrong with our image component. And oh, okay. So this should be source, not browse. So this was causing the issue. And now we can see this image and it's showing from the local gallery. So now if I choose another image, it will show that. Let's show this cat image. and it's updated, and if we choose another, this will be updated as well. So now I want to have a way to delete this, basically to reset the file state. So let's create a pressable here, and inside this we will import our icon component and use the delete icon. Let's give this a size of 25, and the color will be white. So let's save this, and it's white so we're not able to see it, so let's give it a style of close icon. Let's save this, and we can see it on top of the image. So for the size, let's use 22. Now this looks good. So for the close icon, we have the following styles. It's positioned absolute on the top right corner. Now I want to have a background color of transparent red. So let's use RGBA colors, and we'll use the opacity as 0.6. Currently it's black, so let's increase the red color. And I think we need to have some padding, so let's use padding of 5 pixels, and we need to make it rounded, so let's use border radius of 50 pixels. Let's increase the padding to 7, and we need to make it a bit smaller, so let's change the size. Here it is, so let's change the size to 20. Let's save this. Now it looks good. So now when we click on it, it should reset the file state. So let's add an onPress method, and here we'll just simply set the file as null. Let's save this, and now if I click on this, it removes the file. So let's open another file. We see the file, and if we click on this icon, it will set the file as null. So currently we only have the image component, but now I want to show the videos as well. So if I choose the video, we will only see the file style, but we don't see the video. So for videos, we need to install another library. It's called expo AV. It has great features for audio and video files. So let's just copy this command and quickly install this. Let's open the terminal and paste it here. Okay, so it's installed. Now let's just close this, and we need to import the video component from this library. So let's remove this and let's import the video. I think we will need to manually import this. So let's import the video component from expo AV, this library, and let's use this here. So we need to provide style as flex1, and source will be the same as the image component as an object with URI, and we'll use the function get file URI. Let's pass the file object. Then we need to have a property use native controls, then resize mode as cover, and we need to add is looping property, so this will loop the video. Let's close this and save this. So as we save this, you can see we already have our video player and it's working. I can play and pause the video. I can move forward, back. So everything is working. And if I remove this, the video is removed. Now let's select this again, and let me show you this cool feature. So before selecting the video, we can trim the video and then choose. Now only the trimmed part of the video is selected, and then I can also perform all these actions. I can play, pause, or make it full screen. So everything is working, and with this our media section is complete. Now I want to work on creating the post into the Supabase. So for that we'll need to work on our on submit function, and here first we'll need to have the post body and the file, and we are already storing all the content into the body reference. So let's console log this inside this function and see if this is actually updating, and we'll get the content inside the current property of this reference. Then let's also console log the file. Let's save this, and now if I click on post, we'll see in the console as the body is empty and we have the file. So let's add the content. Hey, what's up? And let's post. Now we see the body as the HTML mockup, and we have the file object here. So let's make a condition here so that user will be able to post only the content or the file or both of them at the same time. So if either of them is not added, then we'll simply prompt the user to add an image or the post body. So let's use alert, and title will be post, and we want to show a message, please choose an image or add the post body. Then after this prompt, we'll just return from here. And if we have either one of these values, then we will create the post data. So this will include the file. We will upload this inside the create post function. Then for the post body, I will use body reference dot current value, and we will have the user ID who created this post. So let's use the current user dot ID. I don't think we have the current user here in this file. We have the user, so let's use the user.id here. So this will be the post data. So now we want to create a create post function, but I want to make it generic so that we can use the same function for updating the post as well. So let's just make a comment here for now, and let's create our post service. And inside this, we need to export a function create or update post. And this will be an async function which will receive the post data. And let's create a try catch block inside this. And if we catch any error, we'll console log the error as create post error. And in that case, we will return a response as success false. And we will include a message as could not create your post, like this. So now first I want to upload the post file. So let's create a command upload image. And first we need to make a check if we have the file object inside the post. Then we will upload the file. Let's also add a condition if the type of the file is an object. That means it's a local file and user picked it from the gallery, and it can be either a video or an image. So when this is true, we will check if it's an image or not. So is image, and if it's a local file, it will also include a type property, and this will be either image or video. So we'll just make a check if it's image, then is image will be true, otherwise false. And based on this is image property, we will create a folder name. So if it's an image, we will use the folder as post images, and if it's a video, then the folder name will be post videos. We're also using this folder name when we are checking for the remote files if the file is video or image. So if you see here, file includes post image, and the post image is basically the folder name. That's how we know if the file is image or not. So let's update this to post images like this. So let's go back, and here we need the folder name for uploading the file into Supabase. So let's use the upload file function here, and this will give us a file result. Let's use await file upload, and this requires three parameters. Folder name, we already have that here. Then file URI is on post.file.uri. Every media object has this URI property. Then let's pass the is image property to check the file inside the upload function, and this will give us the result, and we will check if the success is true on this response. That means the file is uploaded and we have the data as the path of this file. So we'll just update post.file to this data. Otherwise, if the file is not uploaded, we will return the file result, and this will show the user that the media was not uploaded. So if I go into the upload file, here you can see on successful upload, it will give us the path of the file here. And if it's not uploaded, we will see could not upload media. So everything's good. Now after this if statement, we need to create the post, and we will get the response as data and error. Now let's import our Supabase client, and we want to upload this data into the posts table. So from posts, and we need to call a function upsert, and it will perform update and insertion as well. So if I show you the documentation from the Supabase, let's go into database and upsert data. So this is the syntax for this function, and we can include all these options. So when we pass the data to this function, if it doesn't include the ID, this will create a new row into the table. But if it does include the ID, that will mean it will update the row with this ID. Now let's use the select function to select the data after insert or update. And this will give us an array. So let's use the single function to get the single object. Now let's check if we have an error. Then we will console log the error, create post error. Actually, let's just copy this response because it will be the same response. And if we don't have any error, that means the post got successfully updated or created. And in that case, we will return success as true, and data will be the data from this response. So let's save this, and now we can use this inside our create post screen. And let's go to on submit function, and here first we need to start the loading. So let's set the loading to true. Then we'll get the response from this new function. So let's use create or update post, and we need to pass the data. Then we will need to set the loading to false after the API call is done, and we'll just simply console log to see the post result as this response. So let's save this and test if this is working. So let me just refresh the app and open the terminal. Let's remove this user console log. So let's go into home screen, and here is the console log. Let's comment it out and let's refresh. So now let's choose an image. Let's choose this beach image, and let's add a caption. Then hit post. So we see the loading, and then we see the post response in the terminal. So we got the data and success as true. So our post got uploaded successfully. So let's go into the Supabase and see into the post table. So here we can see our first post as the ID, body, file, and the user ID. So you see this file has the post images slash the file name. So it must be uploaded into the Supabase storage. So let's go into the storage, uploads. Then we see a new folder, post images, and we have a file inside this. So this is a file that we uploaded. So now the post create is working and the media upload is working as well. Now I want to clear this data when the post creation or updation is successful. So let's go into the new post screen, and let's remove this console log. And here we need to make a check. If response.success is true, then we clear this data. But if it's not, then we need to show an alert. Let's use the title as post, and for the message we will show response.message. So here if the post is created, we will set the file as null. Then we also need to set the body reference dot current value to an empty string, but this will not clear this editor content, so we need to set this editor content to an empty string as well. So editor reference dot current, and we can use this function set content HTML. This will set the content inside this editor, so we need to set it as an empty string. Then after this we need to move back to the previous screen. So router dot back, this will take us to the previous screen. So let's save this. Now let's just refresh the app and see if this is working. So let's create a new post, and this time we want to upload a video. So let's choose the video, and let's actually trim this. So we have the option to trim the video before selecting. So now we can also post the media without the caption as well. So let's just post this video and hit post. So we move back to the home screen. That means it got uploaded. So let's refresh the Supabase storage, and we see a new folder, post videos. And if we click on it, we have a new file, and this is the file that we uploaded. So it's very important to choose the right path for your files and the right content type for your files. So let me show you how it's actually working. So if I go into the create post function here, I'm dynamically choosing the folder name based on the type of the file. Then if I go inside this upload file function, here I'm setting the video type for the content type. So if you don't set this, the file will be uploaded, but you won't be able to use this inside your application, or you won't be able to play this. So it's very important you implement all of this very carefully. So now let's try to create a post without the media and see if we can create the post with only the caption. So let's create a caption. Hey everyone, I'm new here. And let's also style this, and I want to make this new text bold. So let's just select this and hit bold icon. So now let's post, and we move to home screen. So let's see this post into the Supabase. Let's go into the table editor and go into the post table. So here we can see all of the post, and we have a third new post where we can see the post body as the HTML, and we see the file as null because we did not include the file for this post. So that means we can create the post with or without the media. We can also create the post with both the media and the caption as well. So with this, the post creation feature is complete. So this is it for this video, and in the next video we'll work on fetching and showing the post in the home screen. So see you in the next one.